Gotta set the desk back up. I had some guests over tonight to watch me on Collector's Call. I kind of got the place set up a little bit for another video. It's nice and late. Nobody's be bothering me. It's after midnight. Collector's Call debuted. Finally, I waited an entire year for this episode to debut. So it was a long wait, but God, it was worth the wait. It was so much fun. Had some friends over. We watched it tonight on TV, on MeTV. My whole experience with Collector's Call, from start to finish, was awesome. From the Zoom meetings with producers, over and over, lots of those going on, lots of questions back and forth, lots of emails. There was a lot of build-up before the shoot. Obviously, they're shooting a TV episode, you know, and they're coming to your house to do it. A lot of build-up, a lot of preparation in getting things all in order. And then the day of the shoot, you're like, oh my God, you're freaking out. Like, man, there was so much, build up to this point right now. They're finally here to shoot 3 months later. This is like a year ago now. And you're just like, I'm already sweating. I got my nice shirt on. It's 8 a.m. Start at 8 a.m. So I'm like, oh my God, all these cameras are in here. They got 3 cameras in your face. And after you meet the crew and everyone's kind of getting friendly, it's like, all right, you kind of start settling down, you know, because I've got all these notes in my phone, like on the 6 pieces we're going to feature, like the Metaluna Mutant, the Mummy. There was a poster they didn't show, the Mole Man they didn't show. You see him on there, but man, we talked a lot about the Mole Man and the 2 sets of hands, the 60s hands. That would have been a great one to talk about. But no, they did show the Mummy, though. The one I made a mistake on, which I knew I made the mistake. The night I shot the episode, I realized I made a mistake. I go, oh no. I said Karis was from the Mummy, you know. And I call my friend Dwayne Whitehead. I go, Dwayne, I don't know why or how, but I said Karis was from the Mummy. And he's like, it's because technically, no, that is not from the first Mummy film. Karis is not, that's not, you know. So, yeah, 2 completely different things. And Dwayne's like, don't worry about it. He goes, nobody's going to catch that. Just me, a few monster guys out there. And I'm thinking, yeah, every guy in every Universal Monster group from here to eternity is going to say that if they see this episode. He goes, don't worry, that's that. He goes, You're beating yourself up over nothing. That was a year ago. So for a whole year in my mind, I'm like, I made this mistake. He goes, you're honestly, don't even worry about it. I'm like, all right, I'm not. So we're standing there talking about each item, and I'm in Don Post mode. So I'm thinking, Don Post Mummy B. Those are the 60s hands, though. The Mummy A hands, which are extremely rare. I got all these spiels in my mind for each piece, because I got to say the lines on camera. I've been on some TV shows before, but this is the first time where the show is all about me, you know, and my stuff. So I'm like, Jesus, you got 3 cameras in your face, like this close, boom, 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 3 lenses, and I got Lisa Whelchel standing right next to me. Blair from Facts of Life, isn't that? I mean, it's a crazy thing to be dropped in the middle of, you know. So we talk about the mask, and I'm thinking about the technical details of this Mummy set, you know. And I'm like, okay, we got through it. I said the whole spiel, and they're like, great. And then she turns and says, well, what movie would this be from, you know? And I'm like, the Mummy, you know. I go, the Mummy. Get out of here. And they go, great. Now this time, take it from the top. We're going to go, this time, instead of saying just the Mummy, say it's from the 1932 Boris Karloff classic, The Mummy, you know. I'm like, okay. it's from the 1932 classic. You know, I'm not even thinking, no, I'm seeing the back of its head. No, that's Kara sitting there. I'm like, and then like later at night, I'm back here in the basement. 12 hours of shooting is gone now. Everyone packed up all this equipment. I'm like, wow, we did it. And I'm looking at the masks that are still out. They weren't on the shelves, you know, they're all kind of out on this table. And I'm looking at the mummy mask. And I go, oh no. I said it's from the mummy. I'm like, maybe they'll cut that part. You know? Maybe it'll get cut, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that mistake. I even brought it up earlier in the week before the show even aired. I said, oh, my episode's coming on, guys. I've got a monster group. I go, it's coming on. I said, I do make a mistake, though. You maybe they'll keep it in there. And they amplified it. They show the poster, and I'm like, oh, well, whatever. Technically, only the, real monster guys will catch that. But of course, only real monster guys are gonna love this episode. There's some cool stuff to be seen. I'm like, maybe all the other cool shit I talk about will kind of bury that little mistake there. At least I knew the mistake. I'm not like clueless about what I own. One guy jumps on a Universal group. A classic example of someone owning something they know nothing about. I'm like, get it all out. It's okay. Get it all out. But then another guy. Oh, this is the best part. What do you want from me, dude? Get out of here. Go on. Leave me alone. So this other guy jumps on. I had to show you this one. Because I'm just like, okay. I'm going to leave his name on there and everything because I don't care, because I thought it was so funny. A guy by the name of Greg Webb says, I'm an expert on masks. That is a Don Post reissue off the original 66 calendar mask. Someone has removed the hair, but this came out in 1998. I'm like, no, it ain't. That's the 1969 Mummy B. First of all, Greg, what you're trying to say here, what you tried saying was, okay, if original 66 calendar mask, no, that would be the Mummy A. Okay? Someone removed the hair, that's a 98 reissue. No. Look at this. You know what this is, Greg? This is basically the Bible to guys like me. Oh, don't let my mom hear me saying that. This is the Illustrated History of Don Post Studios by Lee Lambert. My buddy Lee Lambert. Yes, nearly 600 pages on the history of Don Post Studios. You guys want to learn about Don Post? Oh, that's mine. That's in this room right now. Okay. You want to learn? That's mine. That's over there on the shelf. That's my mask. If you want to learn about Don Post masks, read this book. But Greg, I want to show you something. Greg. Let's go back to the 1960s. Come on, let's go. In the 60s, they had the Universal Horrors line of masks, okay? Many monsters in that lineup. And what I showed you on the episode, which I was 100% right on everything else until I go, the Mummy, because I'm basically out of my mind at that point. Greg, here's the mask I showed on TV. Right here. And those hands, this mask, are right there. In the book, in the good book, this is the real deal 60s set. Mummy A hands, Mummy B head. Okay? Karis, not the mummy. Okay. So no, Greg, you're completely wrong on all levels. 3 different levels you're wrong. I just had to show you. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not fighting with you. I'm trying to teach you, okay? That's the real deal mask you saw, and it's in the good book. I got quite a few masks in this book. My name's in there a few times. I'm proud of it. All right. Anyway, back to Collector's Call. What a great thing to be a part of. Especially, it's the Halloween season. And it was their season 5 finale. My episode was the finale. I think they only air it one time. Is that right? Like, that was the only time they air it, is the one time. People are telling me, like, you're not going to see it again. I got guys that recorded it for me and put it on DVD. My cable box broke. The day I want to watch my episode, my cable box goes out. Of course. So, yeah, Lisa is amazing. She's a great person. Super, super nice to work with. In fact, I worked with her again on a second episode. We just shot another episode of Collector's Call. I probably told you guys about. A guy by the name of Phil from Illinois had a really great collection full of Frankenstein monster stuff. And all kinds of weird stuff. Really great guy. They called me in as the expert on that show. The expert that made a mistake. At least I know the mistake I made and I caught it a year ago. But, yeah, Lisa's awesome. I pulled up at the second shoot. She goes, "Oh my God, Rudy." She said, "Oh, Rudy, how are you? Did you get your tiki bar done yet?" I'm like, "No." No. Yeah, everybody from the producers to the lighting guys, the sound people, the guys and girls that worked on everything here at my house, they were all amazing. So I've worked on other TV shoots that were okay. You know, it's just, this was a lot more fun than any of them. So, all right. What are we going to talk about here? It is still October, of course, and I need to talk about masks. We still need to talk about masks. Since we're on the subject of mummies, no daddies, just mummies. I said, man, you know, October's here, like I've been saying. I've been showing you lots of masks from Mask Fest, modern mask makers, but man, it's October, it's Halloween time. We're on the subject. Let's talk about mummies. Like, some of my favorite masks in the whole room are mummy masks. I even have life-size mummies here. I have a life-size Karis upstairs. Yes. Oh, I should go get that. Well, I'm not going to pull the head off the light, but it's up there. I'll show you a picture. I got another mummy, another Karloff mummy, life-size. That's the aggravating thing about making a stupid mistake where you're like, I know that. Why did I say that? I was looking at the back of his head and not thinking when I go, the mummy. But yet I make a mistake where lots of guys in there, lots of guys in little Facebook groups all over the land are going to go, "Oh, look what he said. What a dumbass. He don't know mummies." I know mummies, yes. These are some of my favorites. I figured I would share them with you. So I guess we'll start off with the Mummy Bee. Yes, Karis. Since you are a star. You're back on the big screen as of tonight. Most people won't catch what I said. Anyway, Mummy Bee came out in the late 60s. What I was saying on the TV show was Don Post Studio had the 1966 calendar. You've seen all the classic Universal monsters that were dubbed the calendar masks because they appeared in the 66 monster calendar. And there was a Mummy A in there, and his hands were like this, you know, kind of like the picture with the red background. That's the Mummy A, the first version. Not him, but the hands, the other hands in the case. I didn't want it to drop and crack. These are so rare. Maybe 2 known pairs that I know of in that condition, like I was saying. But those masks were all very small. They were not fitting people well. People complained. From the Frankenstein monster masks to the Mummy to the Dracula masks, you know, they were all small. The creatures. So Don Post had them resculpted into a letter B. Don Post wanted a new line sculpted, and they became the B masks. Mummy A, Mummy B, Creature A, Creature B, and so on. Wolfman A, Wolfman B. So this is the Mummy B version. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more on this table right now that are Mummy Bs. They're all technically a Mummy B. Here you have what I think is. So So this, and this are all old mummy bees. I'll start off with him because I know exactly what he is. White hair, the light white hair tells us this is mid-70s. They put the white hair on these around 75, 76. So if you see an old mummy bee mask from Don Post, and you can tell when they're old, trust me, and they have white hair like that, that's a mid-70s look, okay? Now, moving on. This could be the late 60s version like this one. He went through some restoration work as far as I think getting the hair slicked back down and a little bit of work with putting some Fuller's Earth back on him and painting the eyeball. The mask doctor, Kelly Mann, did the work on him. This is the late 60s mummy bee. I just do not know if some were painted in this color scheme and were lighter, with gray hair before going to the white hair with the brown tones or not. Or if this happened to come out late 70s, like 78, 79, did it look like this one? That's the only thing I'm not sure on. I know this is late 60s, but he had a little work done to him. But not so much that he's unrecognizable to his original finish. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could tell he had dark brown tones on him. He looks like an old mummy. It's cool as hell. But that guy with the light gray hair here, he's just a little mystery to me as to what year he came out. Either way, 1, 2, 3, vintage Don Post mummy bees. Moving on, fast forwarding, we'll do these in the eras they came out. Somebody, back in the days of Don Post Studios, people had friends that worked in the back rooms and at the factory and knew painters there and mold makers and whatnot. So back then, someone tapped on the shoulder of one of their buddies that worked at Don Post Studios and said, hey, take that 70s original master mold out and pour me a mummy and give it to me out the back door. Get it? So this thing is I dubbed it the backdoor mummy. This is from the original. This originates from the original 70s master. The long neck indicates that. We're trimmed shorter. But this one was made around 89, I believe. So someone in the late 80s took out that master mold at the factory and poured up a brand new freaking mummy out of the master from those. So that is pretty amazing. I've tried to sell this a couple times. Nobody bought it, thank goodness. I'm so glad no one's ever bought this because I got to be out of my mind to sell this. The backdoor mummy. So yes, it's another mummy bee produced in 89. When I got it was stuffed with 1990 LA newspaper. So I know whose collection it came out of. I know a little bit of the history on it, but that is exactly what that is. Moving on to even more mummy bees. I have two beautiful versions that were made by Rob and Kathy Tharp. Rob and Kathy Tharp, for those of you that don't know, were a husband and wife team who were two of the best painters that Don Post Studios ever had. Rob was painting at Don Post since the 70s, okay? All the way up till 2012. And then on their own, Rob and Kathy produced many masks, many paint jobs. Years later, they would start doing private paint-ups, private masks for people. Someone busted out one of those masters and started, offering castings to Rob and Kathy. Or they gave them the mold, I think. And that's where these two came from. And they were making the most beautiful versions of the mummy bee you could possibly get your hands on. I don't want to. These are so brittle. These old ones are. You got to be so careful. But these guys feel brand new. I mean, this one and this guy here just feel like brand new. These are foam filled. I had these foam filled. I want them to last forever, And they're just gorgeous, gorgeous. Kathy did the eye work. Man, the eyes on these are exceptional. Rob Tharp did the paint work. This one, he did Fuller's Earth to it. I said, I want the green tone. I saw he did one with a green base tone, and I went crazy over it. But, Rob, please do that. Make me one. So he made this green base toned mummy bee with Fuller's Earth, like taking mud through in latex and attaching that earth to it and giving it that good old mummy feel, you know. So these are just amazing, amazing masks that I don't think I could ever get rid of, because there's such gorgeous examples of these old masks. These old ones are misshapen. Obviously, they're decades and decades old, and they're sunken in areas, and they're just delicate. This is like picking up a thick eggshell, you know. You got to be so careful. This was stored on a styrofoam head for decades. And those of you that agree with what I say on styrofoam heads, in 30 to 40 years' time, they will suck the life out of a latex mask, especially a thin one. And that's exactly what happened on both of these mummies. This one too, very crispy and hard to the touch, both on styro heads. And that's something that doesn't happen in 10 years. It doesn't happen in 25 years. Masks I find in collections that have sat on styro heads 35, 40 years, it just eventually gets them. It's crazy to say that, but this is an ongoing pattern with dozens and dozens and dozens of vintage masks. And how do I... These masks had other masks next to them that weren't on styro heads. They were on just little stands. Those masks were beautiful, sitting there for nearly 40 plus years. So you see these things happening before your eyes, and you start to remember, like, wait a minute, there's a pattern here. So I am not a fan of styrofoam heads. I don't care what anybody says. All right, moving on. We do have a beautiful Karloff in the background. Yes, yes. And this is a very, very special one. You guys may remember from my good old Halloween Society videos, that is the real deal Halloween Society mummy. The mummy, right there. Big difference. You can see why guys are, oh, wait a minute, he said that was from the mummy, the mummy bee. Like, no. That's the mummy. I also have the life-size version in the other room. Beautiful life-size mummy by Dwayne Whitehead. But look at the detail. Look at the detail on that. Just gorgeous. I believe this one came out sometime in the mid 80s. I really have to go look at all my notes on my Halloween Society stuff. Is this a Paul Clemens sculpt? I think it is. I think it's a Paul Clemens sculpt of the half a dozen or so Halloween Society pieces that he did sculpt back then. And I think that's number 1 from the mold. I think I have the very first copy in the run right there, which is so cool. That is a very, very, very special mummy. And just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Moving on. One more mummy we're going to talk about who looks a lot different. And now if I said that was the mummy, I would be pretty... No, anyway, skip all that. Who's this guy? Those of you may recognize him. Good old Christopher Lee, who played the mummy. If this was on the TV show and I said, oh, that's from The Mummy, I would actually be correct, because it's from the 1959 Hammer version. Christopher Lee, that's such a cool flick. I have an amazing original one sheet for that film. I had it linen backed. I don't have it framed yet, but I recently showed it on another Collector's Call episode. The original one sheet for The Mummy starring Christopher Lee. I like Lee's portrayal of The Mummy. What did you guys think of that film? And a lot of people seem to be on the fence, like either they're Universal fanatics or they're Hammer guys. I love both of them. How can you not love Christopher Lee? One of the greats, one of the all-time greats, and kept on going after doing a Bond film, in his later life doing Lord of the Rings in Star Wars. Like, he was a living legend back then. So, yeah. You know, I said, why not dig deep into some mummies here? Because I talked about it on the Collector's Call episode, and I'm always talking about Frankenstein monster masks. I'm always talking about new independent guys out there. I said, we got to dig deep into the old monsters again. The Universal flicks, and a little Hammer stuff. Technically, there's one more mummy here from Non-Post Studios I need to show you. There's a mask that's very rare. He's very fragile. And anytime he's ever surfacing, he's falling apart. So to see one like this is extremely rare. Yep, the 1977 Mummy 5000 BC. Okay, Non-Post Studios, one of their cool masks from the 77 lineup. Does not represent anything out of these films except a dead mummy with a skeletal face. I've been slowly bringing this one back with some heat correction, and he's going to get foam filled over winter. But this technically is a mummy. I looked around, I said, I don't see any more mummy masks. I don't want to not show one if I still have one lurking around here, but that should be, there's a lot of Frankenstein monsters in here, but that should be all the mummies currently in the collection. I've had a lot come and go, as you know. But right now, this is the current lineup of mummy masks in the Crimson Ghost Mask Room. It was funny when I told Dwayne about them. I go, I called Karis. I said, Karis was in the 1932. I go, Karis. I said, Karis was in the mummy. I was looking at the back of the head, not thinking it was Karis. He goes, no one's going to, like, not many people are going to know. And now I'm like, yeah, just everybody in every Universal Monsters group, someone's going to bring it up in every single group. And I got a crazy hater out there who's just going to use this ammo like, he thinks he's an expert. You know, he's going to go, look, everybody look. And it's like, everyone's going to say, settle down. So, you know, if there's one thing I know my mummies. And I got a lot of mummies. I've owned a lot of mummies. I've got original one sheets. I got very rare lobby cards from mummy films. You know, it was a simple mistake that'll haunt me. It'll haunt me for a while, but those of you out there that caught it and think I'm a fool and think I don't know what I'm talking about or don't think I know the pieces I own, there's one thing you gotta know. I'm on TV and you're not. Anyway, I'm just fooling around. So, in other news, the Blob Mask. Remember the wonderful Blob Mask? Yes, Blobby. I call him Blobby. The Blob victim. The victim of the Blob. I spoke with... What's his name? Shit! I'll say he's the mummy. No, I spoke with the artist, and he's making another victim as we speak. Yes, so another one is coming. So stay tuned. He made 2 more of these. They looked so good. They all look a little different from each other. I was like, man, I want another one. But he saw the video I made where I said, man, you should make a whole family of blob victims, even the kids, you know, like little kids, like, their eyes are getting sucked out. He goes, I'm doing it. I'm making another one already. So I don't know if he's doing a whole family, but he may make a child blob victim. So more to come from the Grave Robbers Union. Yes. Grave Robbers Union. Yes. Mr. Cole's Grave Robber. Yeah. Cole. Good old Cole. We go way back. So what else? Zach Studios. Remember the amazing bug masks? I told Zach I want to order 2 bugs from him. Not 1, but 2. So I think he's starting on those, and one of them is going to have a unique color scheme, unlike all the others he's made. He's only made a handful, I think, but unique color scheme coming on the one bug, and I want another brown one like the one Tom Savini bought from him. Closing thoughts. Collector's Call, we also show... Oh, yeah. Collector's Call, we also show this bad boy. And I must say, they really, really surprised me. And that is the one thing that wasn't scripted on that show, and the one thing that really made me go, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. They had Rick Stratton come on and do a video thing to me, like a message. I could not believe that. If you watched the episode, or if you guys know the story on this mask, this is not the Distortions heavy metal from '83. Back there, can you see it? No. This is its predecessor. This is the real deal. Rick Stratton created this for Fantasy Faces Unlimited, his mask company back then. And this is a monster version of it. He named it heavy metal. He only made, I think, 4 or 5 of them out of this giant mold. The armature, they casted my friend Dante's head to make the armature for this thing. This is the #1 master pull from that super rare lineup of 4 or 5 of these babies. And I think I may have talked about this before. The reason you can tell that this is the #1 pull, and Dante told me this, he goes, there's a chipped tooth, right? I go, yeah. One little teeth is like a half tooth there. He goes, that's because there was still clay in the mold. He goes, that's the very first pull you got right there. So I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, long story short, a friend of mine knows Rick Stratton. I sent this to California. Rick autographed it for me. I got pictures of him signing this. But then, we're talking about this as one of the key items on the show. And then you go, Lisa's like, I got a little surprise for you. And I'm like, oh yeah? And she pulls out her phone and shows me a video clip of Rick Stratton going, hey Rudy, congratulations on being on the show. Thank you for featuring my heavy metal mask. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, that's incredible. Rick is a very tough guy to get a hold of, which blew my mind. So damn cool. Can't get any cooler than that, like with a mask story. Like, that's incredible. Yeah. Anyway, this Thursday, I got to go to Lexington, Kentucky with the 71 Hemi Cuda, the Phantasm 2 car. We're doing photo ops. Yeah. Me, Don Coscarelli, will be there. And the cast of Phantasm 1, 2, and 3, a lot of the cast members are there. And you can get a photo op with Reggie and my Cuda. As far as I know, they're setting up all these photo ops. Reggie will be sitting in my Cuda. It's insane. Yeah, I have an exact replica of the second film car. And it's crazy. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to shoot I'm going to shoot the whole thing for a video on the channel. So watch for that. I'm going to have breakfast again with Don and his wife. They're great people. And talk. We'll talk a little Phantasm. We'll talk muscle cars and life in general. And I'll tell them about my little screw up on Collector's Call. And it's, you know, like Dwayne said, he goes, nobody's going to know. Only a bunch of monster guys. Like, yeah. I go, I knew the day they left. I go, shit, I said Cars was in the Mummy. Oh, well, you know. All right. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try to pump out another video before I leave for Thursday, because I promised you guys good Halloween mask content for the month of October. And I better deliver, right? So, all right. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Wait! Don't leave. We almost forgot one of the mummies. We almost forgot someone very special to show you. Are you ready? Are you ready to come out? All right. Hold on. To my knowledge, I don't think they did another one of these. I think mine might be the only one. It was funny because the more I would tell them to make a custom, I'd come up with these ideas like, we should make a glow snake. You know, let's make a glow Sargoth Cobra head. And they do a glow in the dark version. And then all of a sudden you'd see one popping up here and there because everyone goes, oh, what a great idea. I want one. So when I had them make this dude, I was like, I don't know if I should post it. I don't want people making these. I want it to be so unique. That's the only one, you know. So that remains to be seen. But look at this crazy thing. I said, Rob, I want it to look like the 78 and 79 glow line of Don Post masks, where they were the old glow-in-the-dark masks like Carlisle and Frozen Ghost. And man, he just caked it on beautifully. Like it's this rough feel because it's the glow-in-the-dark pigment. It's like a powder, and it's just insane. It's so beautiful. And they did not make these from the factory. They did not make glow-in-the-dark mummies like this. Nope. So I had to end this episode with one of my favorite pieces here. And to think I almost sold this once too. Like, what am I, crazy? The Tharps are done. They have retired. You cannot get another one of these. Nope. Done. I had it foam filled. And I got me a freaking glow-in-the-dark mummy. All right. Good night.